Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love. Got lots of love.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven.
No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through! He's just gonna solidify everything from those.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes the Nanoblade immediately in the back, like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2-3, so back and forth.
Welcome in, everybody, to CGL on Thursday night. This is the NA Open Tier Mid-Season Championship, and we are in semifinals now. This matchup we've got for you today is going to be between Ritirement Home and their opponents, Agave Foxtails. Agave? I never know how to pronounce it, but you can clearly see what it is on their emblem there. My name is Speedy, and I'm joined here by Shadow Fang. Shadow, we've been doing a lot of these together this season. We've been able to build up through a lot of these teams. How you doing, man?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing great tonight. Hope you're doing well also. Really just looking forward to seeing some open tier gameplay tonight. But with that being said, this isn't the only match that's happening tonight. We are having in about roughly 30 minutes, well now roughly about 15-18 minutes here, we're going to be having Lunar Eclipse and Solar Eclipse, and that will be on CGL 2, I would have to imagine, unless the South American broadcast is still going at that point in time. I'm not sure. I saw a little alert for that not too long ago, so that could be the case. But just so you know, other CGL action going on as well. That Diamond tier game is probably going to be a pretty good one as well, so definitely be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, big time. That'll be on in about an hour 15, that Lunar Eclipse, Solar Eclipse game going on. And then we do also have our bracket here for this open tier right now. We can check out who's been making it so far. On the other side of this, we do have Amplify and Team Vex. But how did we get here in the first place? Still Ducks did drop to Ritirement Home in the first round, and Subsun also dropped 3-0 to Agave Foxtails. Amplify beat Vicious Sharks 3-0, and Team Vex against Sienna Heights 3-0. So the early round was really quick for all of these teams. It was a very dominant top four that were built here in the NA Open, but now things are going to get a little bit tougher.
Most definitely. And I mean, this is pretty typical for the Opens here as well. Usually the first round of this sort of tournament is going to be a 3-0 type of fashion, but hopefully here tonight we have a much closer game between Ritirement Home and the Agave Foxtails. I have seen the Agave Foxtails before. I casted them one time previously. They're a very, very strong team, so I expect high levels of performance from them tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And when you're in top four of NA Open too, you definitely have to expect high level. This is what some would say is the tip top of CGL, but across all the tiers, you mentioned, even when you go down to Diamond, that Solar Eclipse and Lunar Eclipse game that we have going on, they make it just look like something so different. Diamond is a ranking, but when you get an organized team together, any Diamond lobby would be dominated by either of those teams if they were in queuing up for ranked. So very different than actual Diamond gameplay. There are a lot of top tier teams here. We also, of course, have the Masters and Grandmasters divisions as well, so a lot of high level play across the board. But for this matchup here in the open tier, Ritirement Home, Agave Foxtails, we've got our map lineup, and we're going to be starting up with Oasis. Then our map 2 will be a hybrid followed by Push. Flashpoint, if we make it to a map 4, could close out on Escort, and if we have a tie, then a Control. But maybe not. Nope. Never mind. So those are incorrect. So void those. But we do have Oasis coming up first here on Control. So we will be heading into our bans now. This is just, of course, for Oasis. Our very first round of bans here are going to be getting locked in pretty soon. Very first up is going to be Ritirement Home. So what are we looking at for getting things banned out here in the very first round when you don't have a solid read yet?
Yeah, you know, it's always tough. It really, for this first ban, I would say just you can either protect one of your characters that you think could potentially be banned, or you could just go for something you don't want to play against per se, right? So like with Oasis, there is an opportunity to run like some Ana Brig dive type compositions, so you could go ahead and ban Ana if you just don't want to see the Winston-based dive comp, you know? Or you could go for something like a Tracer, you go for a Sojourn. You know, there's a lot of options here, but it's really just up to what does Ritirement Home want to play. So yeah, there's the Sojourn ban. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, really solid ban to just make sure that something that very powerful in the hands of some players could have a read on the other side here. Or maybe they're just deciding that they don't want to see it in the hands of anybody. Maybe it's not just an Agave specific ban, but We do have Agave now. Foxtails going to have a ban of their own. Can't ban out anything from the damage category, but support and tank are both open. I would say damage is one of the least seen banned categories, so it's really surprising to see them go for that right away, Retirement Home.
It is definitely surprising, and I think it's really because DPSs in Overwatch, they don't really set the meta or set the tempo for fights. They get all the final blows and have all the flashy plays, but the tempo setters for the most part are going to be your tanks and your supports. So you can totally change up the way a composition is played with a tank ban. You know, you can ban a Tracer and your dive comp, you can still have a dive comp. You ban like a Winston, dive comp probably isn't going to happen as easily anymore. But with that being said, I would imagine something like a Juno or a Kiriko ban is probably going to come out here. I feel like that's probably the move here.
Yeah, Juno, Kiriko, Lucio. Within that rotation, we've seen a lot of play, but it's going to be the Ana instead. So something definitely targeted that they don't want to be playing into. Does this mean we're going to be seeing Mauga out of Agave Foxtails and they're trying to avoid that anti-nade to make sure that they're just oh so sustainable?
Yeah, it's probably something that simple, honestly.
Yeah, very possible that's what we're going to be seeing.
And I mean, with that being said as well, getting the Ana out means that it's near impossible to run a dive comp, just generally speaking. You can run like the Kiriko Lucio, but it just isn't nearly as strong as having that anti-nade available to you and just being able to use the nano boost onto, you know, whatever dive tank you want to use. I always use Winston as the example because that's my favorite variation of a dive comp. But the same thing applies to like a diva as well.
Yeah, a couple of different ways to play it, but as you mentioned, the way that those tanks change around in the compositions, it does change the way things are played. But we're going to be looking at our first lineup here. Retirement Home going to be starting off with Choco Man and Vanguard on the DPS, Blue Jay coming in on the tank, and then Liam and Actual on the support. So that's one of those things we're talking about, that Wrecking Ball there. That is another way that you could play the dive. Of course, this composition is just favorite heroes, not necessarily what they're going to be playing, but with Blue Jay favoring the Wrecking Ball, I think there are some really interesting ways that you can throw in a dive here that not every team is prepared to deal with as easily as they can on Winston.
I think there is some potential for you to run a Wrecking Ball here, but a lot of the maps on Oasis do not lend themselves well to a Wrecking Ball. Like, if the side of Agave Foxtails stands on any sort of like high ground, you're asking your Wrecking Ball to be like a mechanical warlord to get that swing off and get the slam off onto the high ground. And then like the level of coordination is going to take to just knock people away from these spots. It's doable, but I think it's way more difficult than running something like a Mauga. And meta, more often than not, just comes down to what is the easiest thing to play to get the most consistent value out of.
Yeah, that's right. But then the other side, it's going to be a little bit different here. Agave Foxtails are bringing in Gromit and Soita to start us off. Sorry, Soitab. Soitab fan? That's a very interesting name. On the DPS, Hee Boink on the tank, Elrin and Pokey Minime. I think I remember messing that one up in the past as well on the support. So those are going to be our starting five for Agave Foxtails here. Really important matchup in the tanks here. I think especially if we're going to see something like an Orisa to try to slow down any kind of dive or brawl, especially the brawl, being able to slow down that frontline engage.
No, absolutely. And Hee Boink does really like playing that Orisa as well. If I recall correctly, they did play some Orisa. I think it was even on Oasis as well. I want to say the time I casted them, they played Oasis map number 1. And Hee Boink would just swap between quite a few different tanks. Very flexible player, generally speaking. So I think the Agave Foxtails have an idea of what comp they want to play coming in. But if they start losing a fight or two, they're very, very likely to just make wholesale changes and be able to succeed very, very well at it.
Yeah, well, this one is just about ready to go, so we'll be seeing what both of these teams will be rolling out with starting out here on Oasis. Our Game 1 control, very classic way to start a game of Overwatch, and looks like it's going to be the city center that we will be kicking off with. So we get a nice little reception area here. A nice welcome too. Not the entire game is going to look quite this nice, but a little bit of a preview on what we might be seeing. I imagine some of these things are going to change as we move on, but oh, that looks more like what we were looking at on the side of Agave in terms of their favorites.
Yeah, it does look like we're gonna see. Okay, this is a more standard dive composition, and again the Ana got banned, so now you have to run the Kiriko Lucio. The other side is running the Kiriko Lucio with a Roadhog. We're seeing an unironic Roadhog right now, and I'm for it.
Yeah, and it's going to be the Sombra as well instead of the Tracer coming out here for Agave. Definitely looks a little bit more modern, what we're seeing from Agave, but Retirement Home look like they're working with something that definitely has synergy. So they've got an idea. This is something they've certainly worked with and built up for. Soit is going to go down really fast, though, to Blue Jay. They are just moving in here really quick, countering that dive by moving quickly on their own feet. Now they've got the team split between them. So they have control of the objective right now. They can turn any way and have somebody in their sights. Hihi Boink does end up going down, so not a lot of that health left on the side of Agave. They can start picking off these targets. It'll be first control going over to Retirement Home.
Yeah, just that early pick coming out for Retirement Home. It's really tough to deal with if you're the Agave Foxtails. And with having the Winston of Hihi Boink here, really good kill coming out from Vanguard, and the trade immediately comes through. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we do see Blue Jay getting topped back up there, but it was dangerously low. Hihi Boink is able to get out of that sticky situation there, still trying to take a fight. It looks like surviving with the Lucio at their side. Blue Jay is going to push this one really far up, but that wasn't really a full solid team fight from Agave. They kind of threw out a lot there and didn't get much out of it, except maybe some closer to some support ults. Hihi Boink's going to make the swap onto that Zarya, but notably Retirement Home, out of about 1.5 fights, they're rounding up on the 50% mark.
No, they absolutely are, and I mean, you got a Kitsune rush here. Dueling Kitsune rushes coming out for this fight.
Ooh, yeah, it's going to be a back and forth going out. The Lucio is forced to ult, drops that beat to the side of Agave, so it's double support ults for Agave coming out now. Elrin did end up going down in that fight, so it's really up to Pokemon to keep everyone alive. Elrin making the swap to Juno to try to get back faster, but Soida takes care of Vanguard, so it's going to be hard to hold a presence on this point now. You can't play as defensively and still get the damage off. Soida going huge here, finding all the eliminations needed. Agave finally get control.
Nice kills coming out from that Genji, just confirming the kills for their team right now. And Retirement Home going to have 4 ultimates online, so you're going to want to watch for that. There's only a Blade available for the Agave Foxtails, and that's a tough ultimate to get value out of without some backup.
Yeah, it seemed like using just that Kitsune really got a lot of value out. They pulled out a lot of ultimates from Agave there, and now they're looking a little bit lower on economy. Grommet does go down early, so it's going to be an opening for Retirement Home to push through, but the Blade does come out, and in the meantime, a Molten Core, so both sides are having their DPS ult right now, try to keep each other away. Hihi Boink ends up going down to the Molten Core, surprisingly. He stands in that just a little bit too long. Space has been taken. It's not a full team fight win, but it looks like Retirement Home has control for a moment.
And yeah, that's basically just, you know, Retirement Home just had such a massive ult advantage that there wasn't really much Agave Foxtails could do about it. You just want to rebuild your economy now and try and get something back for it. But, I mean, here they are just kind of poking and prodding on point.
Yeah, Vanguard loses that turret early, but Actual is able to take the role of DPS for a moment and finds 2 eliminations there. Gets really aggressive. Both of the Lucios doing so, but it's Retirement Home coming out on top of this one. A lot of players from Agave on the respawn. Will anybody be there to touch it? Looks like right now Pokemime is hanging around trying to do their best. This one will go to overtime for a moment, but it's just players trying to hang around the point and make touches right now. Nobody's actually got any damage off, found any eliminations. They did find a lot of time. Grommet pulls the trigger a little bit too early, doesn't find a kill with the ult, but Blue Jay is very low, could end up going down. Pokemon ult gives the beat to the team. They might have to double support ult for this one, but Liam throwing out that Kitsune rush allows the team to have a lot more damage output to get through that sound barrier. Nobody going down for a very long time, so the orbital ray dropped by Elrin, who finds an elimination. Now Hihi Boink throwing out that ult as well. Does find some more, and it looks like Agave are going to be able to hold this one for a moment as long as they can clean up these last few.
Good fight win there from the Agave Foxtails. You have to burn... Wait a minute. This Lucio of Actual. Okay, I thought that was about to be a problem there for a minute. I've seen that go... No, the point. Oh, Lord.
My.
That was close. That was very, very close. Now, though, you're in a sticky situation if you're the Agave Foxtails. I think you have to, like, play aggressively and try and get an early pick, because otherwise you're just going to get caught out by this Blizzard.
Completely agree. It's the one thing on the field right now that can really just end this entire fight right away. The Molten Core is going to be disruptive, but not nearly as brutal as this Blizzard can be. Now, charging in is Retirement Home. They use that Molten Core, get it out on the field. A really nice wall to keep the entirety of Agave in as well, to take that extra damage and make sure they can't escape too easily. But nobody goes down for it. A really well-placed Blizzard, and although Chocolate Man loses the life for it, there's still going to be some eliminations coming out of it. Those supports had to get out of the way, and they weren't able to heal up their team. The beat comes through from Actual to keep the team alive. You're going to try to lock this one down. They weren't able to cap for a moment. Now it's up to Agave to touch. It has flipped for Retirement Home, and they do have the numbers advantage. But Agave are doing the same thing they did last time, playing that high ground, stalling this one out. They do get taken down a lot more efficiently this time, though. Blue Jay is going to clean this one up with the ults, keep them off the point, and find some elimination. So it's a hard-fought one. Agave tried to stay in there, but Retirement Home, just like it looked like should have happened, ended up winning that first one.
And I mean, if you're the Agave Foxtails, you feel pretty good about that, because you were losing so much ground on that dive comp to start with, and then being able to flip it back and start making it a more competitive map just means that, like, if you were on your comp from the beginning, we're probably looking at, that was essentially a 99-99 fight, right? We were right there on the edge of it. And you can definitely see where the comp swaps really made this a much more competitive map. And now, I especially like what Agave Foxtails are playing now into the Roadhog. Like, okay, you want to play Roadhog and be just in my face all the time? I'm going to play the thing that likes to shoot tanks and get health off of them in the Malga, so I really like the swap.
Yeah, really good switch. They don't go for a full compositional change, but it's right there immediately. Hee Boink does get pulled in. It was a nice angle as well that Blue Jay took to try to get him away from the healing, and now Hee Boink does go down. Soida as well going to drop, so a pretty quick one for Retirement Home there. They did win first fight on the last map as well, but this time it's much quicker. And honestly, where the Malga should have thrived, it seems to have dropped really fast.
It's you need to, if you're the side of the Agave Foxtails, you've got to get your Malga in to shoot somebody, right? Because again, 15% ult charge, you should definitely have more ult charge than that. You have this gigantic ult battery in this Roadhog. Here we go, get the stomp in. Love this play.
It's really interesting to change targets there off of the DPS, but Ramit ends up dropping out of nowhere. That was very surprising with all the mobility that Reaper has. You would think they would have been able to survive longer. Soida as well, unable to escape, so with the DPS down, it's going to be hard to stay alive here. Hee Boink just going to have to survive as long as they can, and they're getting popped up. While Blizzard gets committed to this one just to take out Hee Boink. And it looks like they might just get more out of it as well. Chocolate Man not able to find the Lucio. Pokemon stays alive for now. Soida doing a good job of picking up on the overextension. Now another support goes down, and suddenly Agave Foxtails can jump into this one. A really well-placed Molten Core is going to slow down that push, though. Get a lot of extra damage out there. Don't get too aggressive. You don't have your supports ready to take this fight. You're going to hold the point for now, and this one might end up being an even fight.
Yes, and here we go. The pin comes in from Hee Boink. You just got to make sure you don't shoot that deflect and shoot right into that hog. There you go. That's the advantage that the Malga is going to have over the Roadhog. The Malga wants to shoot the Roadhog, and the Roadhog is a gigantic target to hit.
Yeah, a lot of ults online here for Agave Foxtails in the next one, though. They haven't committed anything. Despite winning that one, they didn't have to commit anything to it. The Molten Core came out, we saw, to try and slow down the push early on. Surprised how little that actually ended up charging throughout the fight as well. Double support ults online for Retirement Homes mean there's a possibility that if these ults get stacked on top of each other from Agave, that they might be able to counter them, but you're banking on a lot there. Agave really should have this fight, and it's going to get kicked off with a lot of them. A Death Blossom going inside of the cage to counter a Kitsune Rush, the only thing committed from the side of Retirement Home. No, actually, it looks like Blue Jay committed the whole hog as well.
Yeah, Soida got right in front of Blue Jay and deflected most, if not all, of that whole hog right back at them. So, great play from the Genji. And, I mean, that's part of the reason why you play Genji with the Malga to begin with, is because you're usually playing into a Malga mirror. But the deflect works just as well here, and Vanguard taking down Pokemon is not the way you want to see this start.
No, Pokemon be going down really fast. A nice counter beat to counter this Blade here, but the Blade still ends up finding value by eliminating that Lucio. It looked like for a second Vanguard was like, where are you going, Soida? But no, came back on the map and got right back to the spawn. He Boink goes down, and it'll be Retirement Home taking control once again. So it seems like by using those ultimates that they had in the bank, they were able to take that win. But Agave have that really important beat online. They might have to use it here, not to counter any ults in particular, but actually just to stay on. So they're going to engage really, really quickly. They push all the way into the choke point on the side of Retirement Home's side of the map here. The Molt 4 does go down. Doesn't find any eliminations outright. Pokey does use that beat eventually. Pretty late, honestly, which means that they can withstand this fight a lot longer. It was a well-timed beat with nobody down. Actual drop, so the healing is mitigated. Agave Foxtails are going to be able to pick up control, but it's 99% for Retirement Home.
It is indeed 99 for Retirement Home. They're getting close on this Blizzard, and they have a Kitsune Rush available as well. If you're the Foxtails, you have the Blossom. You might want to pop the Blossom early to try and force some cooldowns out, and then just try and go for the cage with the Blade. You really only need to win like one more fight here. This fight is really last fight for this point, I would say.
Yeah, and they're all right here in the choke as well. It's very, very likely to go, and there it is. The Death Blossom comes out. Liam gets eliminated right away, and now a great target for a Reaper. That Torbjorn doesn't end up going down just yet. The Kitsune actually does well to get that healing out from the Kiriko really quickly and keep everyone alive. Another Blade from Soida coming out. Now those are getting charged up so quickly. Blue Jay able to stay safe by committing the ultimate there. The Whole Hog coming out. Soida found a lot of value with that Blade, though. Going to be difficult for Retirement Home to stay alive now. Vanguard ends up dropping the Kiriko. 1 HP. Can it find the last shot? Liam, you have to hit these. Somebody hit a shot. Nobody will. And it'll be the point secured for Agave. So we're moving into a map 3.
Hey, that's value from my Genji right there. Genji in the back line fighting the Kiriko. That means nobody's getting healed on point. Because I saw a Kiriko and a Lucio back there, so nobody's getting healed on point. That's high value coming out from Soida right there, even if they could not get the final blow. But we just see how well this Mauga composition plays into specifically the Roadhog. I mean, what are you going to do? You've got this massive Mauga just out here just firing you up this entire time. If you're Blue Jay, you can't really do anything about it. Like, you just kind of got to sit there and just take it, you know? And now we've got Soida going over to the Pharah as well, which is like, what are you really going to do about a Pharah here? Is Torbjorn going to be taking down Pharah with those little, with those pellets that come out? I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah, it's been a good job of countering the turrets so far, but Soida already up to 26% on this ultimate. Blue Jay actually at the same right now, charging insanely fast by the damage they've put out, but it's Agave that are able to hold on to that high ground, and Vanguard's turret gets taken out early. It's been targeted already by Agave. They know that it's a good condition for them to be able to win this. Actual ends up dropping, so no more speed boosting, no more AoE heals anymore. Agave Foxtails have the high ground as well. Soida actually ends up dropping to Vanguard with a headshot, not even just the turret. A well-placed shot there finds that elimination, but he Boink is going to drop deep in the back line, get a stomp, and surprisingly doesn't get punished for it either, despite being separated from the support line. Now Gromit finds Blue Jay with that front line down as well. You have to think that eventually Agave will take the win, but no, the supports are finding the frags. Retirement Home are still in this one for a moment. They've got Choco Man coming back in, and although Agave have control, it looks like they're going to try to fight again.
You definitely want to try and fight this again if you're the Retirement Home, and you're seeing Blue Jay has swapped over to the Diva. They have had enough of this Mauga nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely. Already using that eat there. Now the Kitsune Rush does come out a lot quicker pace, but a lot of these bullets are missing. Soida drops that barrage from above. Poking Miname dropping the sound barrier as well. So really well covering those just to make sure that it's a successful ultimate. And it was a lot committed for not a lot of value, but they do end up getting the eliminations in the end with the follow-up. So following through does get them where they want to be. And they're going to find a late elimination on the Blue Jay and Actual. So they're going to push this well past 50.
You know, there's something so satisfying about Reaper gameplay. Like, it's such a simple character, but just every time you get a headshot with those shotguns, it just feels really, really good. So I always enjoy seeing a Reaper composition. And with this one right here, you've got sound barrier online if you're Actual. You've got both your DPS ults as well if you're Retirement Home. You have to deal with this Cage and Death Blossom though. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, definitely a tough ask. Choco Man does have the blast, but you can see caught in the cage. Decided to throw down the Blizzard to try to stay alive in this cage, but it's a really good target focus from the side of Agave Foxtails to find that elimination quickly. Only Hee Point goes down, and you will definitely trade that for all the value you got out of that single ultimate.
No, absolutely. Great job from Gromit not using that Death Blossom. They hear the Blizzard go off. They know that they're not going to be able to really finish that ultimate. Actual still has this sound barrier, so there is potentially going to be an engagement happening here, but Agave Foxtails have the Orbital Ray, Death Blossom, and this barrage incoming.
Yeah, the ice block right on the edge there. A lot of support ults coming out here, getting committed. Gromit gets booped off the map. Actual finds 2. Might just keep Retirement home in this one. We'll see how much value they can get. The FAR is somewhat low, but the Juno finding all of those heals with the well-placed shots. A really nice bomb. And Soida, who's somehow unable to escape from that with the turret on point, is helping them take so much space. And just at 99%, Retirement home are actually going to be able to hang on by using everything they had.
I mean, huge boop from Actual. I mean, I don't even know what else to say there. You get out the Reaper and the Mauga from that fight. Soida does have this barrage online, but you've got the Diva of Blue Jay, so you're gonna have to force out that defense matrix or get that Diva out of mech before you can really get high value out of this barrage.
Yeah, no movement on the barrage either. Not using the perk for the movement during that ultimate. So does have the perk to turn that repulsor into a gravitational pull. Finds some really good eliminations on the back. Finds Liam before the ult even comes out. Vanguard's able to eliminate Soida during that ult, but was it too late? Actual finding another boot kill, this time on the Poke Miname. But it does look like Retirement home on the back of Actual once again going to be able to find that one, able to outlast Soida's ultimate. But this Mauga is being a pest and now has the sound barrier as well. It's going to be using the Vanguard, going to be using the Molten Core here, and it does look like it was wise to do so because Hee Bonk ends up going down to it. Was surprising that it came out so soon after the sound barrier. Could have gone for very little value, but ended up working out. The turret was not focused down well enough there to be countered.
I mean, I don't even know what else to say right now. Vanguard getting a lot of kills right now, but this Lucio of Actual is a menace right now. Just getting final blow after final blow, just 1v1ing whoever they want to from the side of Agave Foxtails, and now a Kitsune Rush comes out from Liam.
Really early Kitsune there to try and to stop the push from coming in so that Blue Jay can get back, and I think that was really well timed. It's not when you want to be using that resource, but things could have been a lot worse if it wasn't used. So it's going to be Agave Foxtails rotating the entire map. But Gromit gets caught out during the rotate, and some of the Foxtails, it looks like, are going to try to pull back. The Orbital Ray does go down, and at some point, Soida takes advantage of it, taking down Actual. Blue Jay not able to mitigate this damage anymore, but does stay alive for the moment. Comes back to help the team, trying to take down the back line. Sees that weak Cassidy, but the Cassidy stays alive. Vanguard gets booped off. The Cassidy finds a high noon onto Poke Miname. It's actually double, and now eating all of the barrage, but it might have been too late. Blue Jay does take down Soida. There's a couple of players left. Actual and Blue Jay holding this one with just a Juno trying to commit. So from 0 to 100, Retirement home will come back to take that third point on the very last moment and take map 1.
I mean, what more can I say than Blue Jay just playing spectacularly on that Diva right there, getting the bomb to take down Hee Boink inside the cage, and then immediately following it up by eating almost the entire barrage of Soida, just doing the absolute most, whether they were on Roadhog or on Diva for that matter. I mean, they were finally forced off the Hog on the third point and showed that, you know, they could play other heroes just as well.
Yeah, onto the Diva. We saw a different style of dive than maybe what we would have been expecting, but it has been very popular lately. There have been some Roadhogs running around, but mostly it's to try and counter particularly that Mauga. And so plenty of practice on it results in a really great win for Retirement home. A lot of highlights here on both sides. Honestly, Vanguard on the Torb throughout that entire map was just a real pester to the entirety of Agave Foxtails, no matter what they were playing, and especially when they were on that Pharah. Those beautiful ult combos there, reversing the Roadhog's Hold Hog right back into themselves, and then using that Death Blossom as well. It's like having 2 ultimates for the price of 1, although I believe they got rid of 3 in that fight total.
No, you're absolutely right, and Agave Foxtails, once they got rolling a little bit on the comp, they looked like they were going to just roll their way right to a map win here. But then it just seemed like they couldn't quite figure out how to deal with the Diva. they were just having a little bit too much difficulty in dealing with the diva. So that, and I mean, honestly, the Lucio of Actual, I gotta shout that out as well, because again, that Lucio was just flying all over the map, getting boop after boop, kill after kill. It was insanely high value from that player.
Yeah, really great job from the side of Retirement Home to stay in it there. It's not easy to come back from a 0.399 to 0. Going all the way from 0 to 100, that's really tough. And this is an extremely close match. I'm not really surprised. We are in the semifinals of the NA Open tier here. So not very surprised to see that our top 4 teams are this closely matched. But it does feel like a game that's so close that it could be worthy of a grand finals, but only one of these teams is going to be able to make it. So this is a lot on the line for them right now. And Retirement Home getting the first point on the board is a huge step up for them. A lot of wiggle room for them to work with now, but it's Agave Foxtails map pick here. So you never know. Maybe they could swing this in their favor, getting even just a little bit more of an advantage by having a map that you favor.
I mean, just based on what I saw Agave Foxtails picking at the beginning of Oasis, I would think they want to force us to a dive map of some sort. They're going to have their Ana back available to them, so I would think that you want to play that Ana Brig with a Winston dive comp. That's the vibe I get out of them. So I, again, would expect some sort of dive map incoming shortly. And with that being said, it does appear that we got a dive map in Blizzard World being the pick. So they have chosen Hybrid and they have chosen Blizzard World. So I mean, that makes complete sense to me. And going from here, we're just gonna have to go straight into the bans, and this is where it gets very interesting.
Yeah, the bans are going to be interesting on this one. Once again, like you mentioned, that Ana not going to be able to be banned by Agave, who should have the first ban on this one. So it'll be a little bit different from this time. A lot of advantages in their hands. They've got to try to flip this one around, because if you can't win with these advantages you're being given in this setup, it's going to be really tough to move forward here. So Agave Foxtail is going to be banning first. I don't think it's extremely likely that we're going to see a DPS ban first this time, like we did in the last one from Retirement Home. So Agave Foxtails here, they have to decide if they want to continue banning out support, something like the Brig, to make sure the Ana Brig doesn't come out, or maybe you expect that Lucio to still be used because of the style you're seeing on the other side, maybe one of the players specializing in it. So may want to ban out that Lucio there. Otherwise, it'll be all on the tank, making sure they either don't have the Diva if you do want to still play some kind of brawl, or don't have the Winston if you'd like to fully counterban them.
There is also the option of banning Roadhog because you think that Retirement Home wants to play Roadhog again. There's also that option. That that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go favorably for you, but I would expect the Diva, just because it seemed like Agave Foxtails favored the Winston, and that would just be my guess.
Yeah, well, we should have our ban coming out here in just a moment. So it from Agave Foxtails is going to be, drum roll please. I'm really curious to see if it's going to be in the supporter tank side, because it will cancel out what is going to come out from Retirement Home, something that they won't be able to ban instead. So I am very curious what they're going to be like blocking out here. And it looks like if we take a look on the left, they've thrown a ban on that Wrecking Ball. Am I seeing that correctly?
It does appear to be that way. So alright, so yeah, it looks like the Wrecking Ball ban came out.
So neither the Winston nor the Diva here. It's going to be the Wrecking Ball instead getting banned. Very interesting choice from Agave Foxtails, not wanting to see that Wrecking Ball. Although, I do remember looking back and seeing a certain player portrait that did have a Wrecking Ball as the favorite hero. So,
I mean, it could just be that they don't want to deal with, they don't want to try and deal with a Wrecking Ball from the other side, or it could just be a protect ban. That's also another option here. But I don't know. If you're Retirement Home, Brig is an option. We mentioned it before. I have a hard time believing you try and get rid of Lucio here. Outside of that, maybe you ban out a Tracer. Maybe you don't want to see Tracer. But I feel like Tracer's a ban you save for like later into the game, once you've determined that one side's Tracer is playing a little bit better. So it's like, okay, let's just get rid of this pick so we don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, I do think the Genji was giving them quite a bit more trouble, truthfully, so I could see them wanting to target down that one instead if they're going to go for DPS, but it's the Ana instead, so both teams not wanting to run into the Ana here. It doesn't seem like either of them are really going to be favoring it, so they've been banning it out, trying to prevent each other from playing it. I'm not sure that either team really wants it, so it might have been a little bit of a throwaway, but we'll see. Perhaps Agave Foxtails will be a little bit tossed around by this one. We're not sure if they're prepared for it or not, but Retirement Home is up 1-0 in this. They do have the advantage. Agave Foxtails, everything is important for this Wrecking Ball ban, this map pick. Everything has to be absolutely on point because it's not every day that you get so many things in your benefit like you do in this format. So here we go. Our lineups still look to be staying the same here. These 5 players on each side going to be going in. And like you said, those Lucios on both sides, it seems like those are 2 players that really favor that hero. So unlikely to see a ban from either of them for that throughout this game.
Yeah, I'd have a hard time believing we see that come out, but I also would have had a hard time believing that we banned Ana on the first 2 maps, and that happened as well. So yeah, it's just really no telling at this point, quite honestly. I mean, I've played a little bit of Ana myself, and I gotta be honest, I think she's probably the best support in the game right now, so it makes total sense to me why you would want to just get that out of here. Like, you know, just keep it off to the side for the first couple of maps. We'll come back to it later and deal with it at that point in time. But on this particular map, I get the feeling that one of these teams at least is going to try and play some dive. I feel like Retirement Home might still walk out on that Roadhog again. They seem to really favor that Roadhog until they were forced off of it by the Malga.
Certainly so, and now we get to see just a few of the collectibles. If you want to go ahead and buy yourself a Blizzard World, what would they call it, a Blizzy meal? That's I'm not gonna. All right, we're not gonna venture any further into that territory. But either way, some of the collectibles that you can get there. Retirement Home rolling out here on the Roadhog, keeping the Torbjorn as well, but this time opting for Zenyatta off the start.
Yeah, so this makes that combo actually makes some good sense to me, because if you're playing the Roadhog, you're going for just trying to do as much damage as possible. So throw discords on people, you're more likely to get one-shots. Vanguard doing a ton of damage on this Torb, amplify that damage even more so. Zenyatta is one of the heroes that I think got helped out a lot by perks as well. The perks for Zenyatta are absolutely stellar. But now Agave Foxtails going to have to push these players off of this high ground.
Yeah, they do bring out the Sojourn here, as it is not banned this time around. So Grommet on that Sojourn. Soida still in the skies on that Pharah, and there's so much front-facing damage coming out with this composition Retirement Home are playing. They do find Soida early on, but I do think the D.Va is going to have a big impact here with the defense matrix, because all of that damage should be coming from a singular direction. You're not really going to have to focus too many directions. That hook was a little bit wide, but Blue Jay not going to find anything just yet.
No, absolutely. If the D.Va of He Boink can manage to get in, I mean, I would almost think you just go force the point if you're the Agave Foxtails. What's Retirement Home going to do? You're going to have to see this gigantic pig rotating towards you from wherever it comes from. Yeah, see, just like this. But you can still force the point, so I kind of like this rotation that's happening right now.
Yeah, the supports do fall back for Vanguard, but from way downtown, He Bonk actually gets hooked and quickly demech. Some really good target focus from the remaining players of Retirement Home in the back, and Choco Man falls back to start finding some of these eliminations. If they can keep it up, this can go well for them. It was looking like Agave Foxtails had something to work with, but eventually it all just starts falling away. So the Cassidy does drop, Actual does as well, as Soida comes back in. So looking a little bit even, and because of the spawns and that straightaway sight line, it does seem like, oh, really nice hook during the ult, but Liam was already found, so Blue Jay finds that one just in time to make it even again, but is even enough?
Even is probably not going to be enough, and you're going to lose Elrin. They stayed alive for so long, and here comes the overclock out from Grommet.
Yeah, overclock is activated, but it's going to be hard to hold possession of that point with the Molten Core coming out. Soida finds Blue Jay, so you do have that huge damage mitigation gotten rid of now. It's going to be really hard to stay alive, and actually they commit a Transcendence here from Liam just to make sure that they can try to stay alive, but both of their DPS have gone down.
Yes, they have, and you're going to have to back off if you're Retirement Home. Great job by the Agave Foxtails of just retaking that space and holding the area you know that you're able to hold on this comp. Because again, with Blue Jay being on this Roadhog, you should be able to surround this character and be able to take out all the squishies around them, you know, relatively simply. Like, it's a pretty straightforward approach you have to take here. Just take this high ground from this Roadhog and don't allow them to just walk on your back line.
And that's what it looks like is happening just for a moment. Blue Jay does find Grommet a little bit too far forward there, trying to take an off angle. Cassidy does have the Deadeye online. The Diva came close to being DMX, but he Boink's going to be able to stay alive there. Does have the bomb as well, so a little bit of a get out of jail free card, as well as both of those support ultimates. So the ultimate economy for Agave looking just a little bit more flexible here to work with. Blue Jay finds Soida early, though. A little bit of payback for capping that first point. It seems like every time Agave gets set to push in, they find somebody going down, and it keeps slowing them down.
Yeah, Blue Jay just continuing to land these hooks on this Roadhog. And I mean, that's what you have to do on the Roadhog. So, you know, kudos to Blue Jay for continuously landing these. But if you're the Agave Foxtails, you can't be in a position where you can get hooked until your team is actually ready to push in and take the fight.
Yeah, speaking of which, it looks like they're ready to push in and take the fight now. There's a Kitsune, but being countered out here for the moment by a Deadeye. A really nice way to counter there, honestly. The Deadeye gets so much value in just survivability and not even damage. So a great way to slow down Agave. Retirement Home did pull back a little bit, but they're going to be able to engage so much quicker.
And right here, we're looking at 4 ultimates online for Agave, everything but their Kitsune Rush and Retirement Home. They've got the whole hog and double support ultimates, and here comes the overclock from Grommet.
That one's going to open it up, but it's going to be a whole hog coming up from Blue Jay. Has to use the breather there just to stay alive for a moment. Has to continue to use it. Actually spends a lot of this time with the whole hog recovering, and that's why Agave Foxtails are able to find 2. No more Discord Orbs, and Vanguard is down, so a lot of the annoyance gotten rid of. Blue Jay is staying alive, but not really having much of an impact past that. Agave might have overextended themselves a little bit. The bomb does get committed, so Retirement Home have to open themselves up again. Let Agave look like they found those players that got disconnected from their tank, and eventually Grommet breaking down the entirety of Retirement Home.
Yeah, I mean, just great job from Agave Foxtails of just, you know, not really allowing the side of Retirement Home to set up and do what they want to do with this composition. And you did burn a lot of ultimates in the process. You burnt all 4, but you got second point cap, so that feels like solid value to me. And then coming into this next fight, you've got a Transcendence available from Liam, as well as Vanguard's Molten Core, and Choco Man has this Deadeye, which for the most part is just going to create some space. Maybe you get a kill off of it. But yeah, here we go, about to engage in this next fight.
Blue Jay takes a lot of early damage there, so not able to hold as far forward as you might want. Has to keep playing this corner. The Molten Core does come out right on the cart as well, so pushes Agave back a little bit. Now you can see Blue Jay taking space immediately. They get to push up to this next corner, and now they're holding the cart. So a really great zoning and positioning ultimate there, but the Pharah pulling everybody in. A nice Deadeye while everybody's open around the corner, not able to lock in on anybody. The Transcendence comes out to keep them alive, but Choco Man was so close to finding value with that Deadeye, just got poofed a little too far out of the way. The Pharah pulling everybody in, pushing everybody away all over the place. Some players getting traded out here, but it looks like Agave coming out on top of this one. It's not a 150 overclock here from the Sojourn, but it is enough to get the job done. So Agave gonna push this in and force what could be last fight if Retirement Home can't hold on.
I mean, great kiting there from Agave Foxtails. They hear the Deadeye come out and the Transcendence, and they just back away. They're like, okay, we burnt our Kitsune, but we can just easily back out of this and deny all of the value of this ultimate. And now you've got an Orbital Ray, you've got the Barrage, and you have Bomb.
Oh, really nice mobile barrage there coming out in the Orbital Ray. It's dueling Orbital Rays that come out, but only one really finds value. Agave forcing all these players back into spawn, pulls in the Cassidy there and finds that close range elimination. A really nice cleanup from Agave. They picked up a lot of momentum and carried it through with a great ult.
And I mean, honestly, it feels like they've started to figure out how to play it into this Roadhog composition a little bit better. Like I said, all you have to do if you're the Agave Foxtails is just make sure you group up as a full team, all push at the same time, and then you're allowing Hee Boink to be in position to defense matrix you even if you do get hooked. But when they were pushing out a little bit too early, somebody would get hooked and die. So now with them grouping up and pushing together as a unit, a lot less people are likely to get picked super early by Blue Jay, and it just kind of resulted in fights rolling in the way of Agave over and over again.
Now these sides are going to flip here. Retirement Home going to have their chance to attack. They will have to finish the map. It was a 1-12 finish for the side of Agave Foxtails, finished with over a minute in the time bank, which does mean that if Retirement Home finish in overtime, it will be Agave Foxtails' game to lose. They've got themselves quite a bit of an advantage here. And the setup that Agave Foxtails are going for here is probably something that would be considered a little bit more solid, especially sitting here on Blizzard World. You wouldn't be expecting that Roadhog to be the primary tank that you'd be running into. And Soida going to get some early damage here. This is a lot of that early ult charge we see, but not really getting anything out of it.
Yep, and worth noting, Liam has swapped over to the Baptiste to try and help deal with that Pharah as well. Pokey Mini-Me getting the headshot, though, taking down Vanguard immediately.
They're not going to have any TPs onto the high ground this time. In fact, Retirement Home are going to fully disengage. They don't want to waste too much time early on. They're just going to wait for that player to return. Vanguard's going to actually make the switch onto the Sombra now. So they're opting to go for something, maybe seeing that the entirety of Agave Foxtails are on that high ground right now, wondering if they're going to sneak behind. It is going to be Vanguard trying to sneak behind. Does give away the position a little bit, but still sneaking up.
They are just looking for some hacks. Nothing really to speak of just yet. Teams are just kind of poking and prodding at each other.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while. A nice hack onto that health pack that can be used by either team in this one. Blue Jay with a really well-positioned landmine right there. D.Va's stuck in a corner here. Hee Boink does get D-Mech. That's a really good way to start it. And Soida gets focused as soon as the hook comes through. Great communication by Retirement Home to catch that player and put all the damage really quick. It's an earlier fight win for Retirement Home on this first point. So far, moving quicker than Agave did.
And I mean, if you're Retirement Home, that is your win condition, right? Vanguard has swapped over to the Sombra just to make sure that Hee Boink cannot play the game on D.Va. And now you've already forced Hee Boink to swap over to Winston. Hee Boink is now playing Retirement Home's game. And that is going to make it a lot easier for this Roadhog of Blue Jay to get a much higher value as they were earlier on in this map.
Hee Boink as well playing into this Roadhog. Gonna have a much harder time disengaging, not going to be able to use that defense matrix to buy time anymore. So if you do get hooked as this Winston, things are going to be really, really tough. Gets hacked as well by the Sombra. There's just so much to shut this down. Doesn't get hooked that time. The shots are still there, but playing the bubble really, really well. The team starts to engage on the tank, but Hee Boink deciding to turn around and say, let's go for the Baptiste instead. Liam is down. First one to drop in this fight. So many players low from the side of Retirement Home. Hard to believe Chocoman and Blue Jay are both still alive right now. Eventually, Chocoman does go down, but it's a DPS trade. They're going to need more than that. Vanguard is falling back, and that might mean Retirement Home are going to stay out of this one.
And Blue Jay finally does go down to Hee Boink. And again, like you said, just masterful bubble dancing on that Winston, managing to catch out Liam on that Baptiste. Otherwise, that would have been a much tougher fight to try and get through. Agave Foxtails, 4 ultimates available for them. Everything but their Primal Rage online. And for Retirement Home, they have everything but this EMP. So this is going to be an ult-heavy fight right here.
Uh-oh. And looking to set up for it is Soida, who did have that mobile barrage. Now it's going to be Chocoman going down to an overclock. Takes down that invincibility, that matrix as well, and now Liam is going to be dropping, so drops that matrix and doesn't get much value out of it. Blue Jay and Actual both also commit their ults here, and it's just really slow play now. They've been forced to not only slow down, but they're still losing players over time. The Sombra drops and just covering their backs now. They used all those ultimates just to lose the fight.
I mean, great job from Agave Foxtails, just not playing really in range of that Roadhog, just kind of playing at distance. And also Soida doing such a good job of just laying in that spam damage on that Pharah, not really letting the side of Retirement Home ever feel comfortable. But now Retirement Home does have EMP. They could delete somebody very quickly with that ultimate, so I want to see how they use that.
Bubble's already been used here, so it's the Deadeye coming out. Poki Miname does find an elimination onto Vanguard really early using that Kitsune. If you're trying to hold this, gets a little bit of damage onto the Primal, but Hee Boink still has plenty of life, and Poki finds another. Ritirement takes down Blue Jay. That's going to be the end of things. They're just going to clean up the fight here on the supports, and Agave Foxtails going to continue to hold. Only about 230 remaining for Retirement Home. Still quite a bit of time to work with.
And here we are. It looks like Blue Jay has actually swapped Winston now. So we're looking at a Winston with a Baptiste Lucio. An odd composition, to say the least, from Retirement Home. Going to be difficult to heal your Winston up consistently. But you do have an EMP still from Vanguard, and that has to be your win condition here.
Yeah, the Baptiste does catch the Pharah trying to come around through the back. The Orbital Ray is through a center point of the map, so able to use that on both sides during the engagement. Hee Point does get taken down while Blue Jay just barely survives, able to get topped up. Soida right now looking for that tier 3 so you can get one more upgrade. Finds a nice body shot onto the Lucio there, but doesn't find an elimination. Now turning that Repulsor into instead a Gatherer, and a really nice shot on Actual on the way out. Both supports go down. Really good staggers.
No, I mean, great direct rocket coming out there from Suida. They do still hold on to that barrage, like you were saying. So, barrage going to be online. Actual does not have sound barrier yet. So, ideally, you probably want to engage pretty early with your ultimates before this sound barrier comes off. Blue Jay taking down Suida, though, is kind of crazy on the Winston. Sniper Monkey engage.
Yeah, Soida going down really quick. Grommet has to get out of there, but gets sniped by Blue Jay. So double Sniper Monkeys coming out at this point. Liam tries to find a spot here to set up at, but not going to be a really good one for that Matrix. Just kind of zones Agave out for the moment. Retirement Home still dropping, though. Blue Jay ends up going down. That Matrix is gone. A really nice engagement in the back. Groups up all the players. Soida here using those perks to a huge advantage. A nice hack on the Hee Point, but it's not going to mean much because Vanguard is going to go down as well. Just one more to get cleaned up. Soida, do not overextend. No more Sniper Monkey plays here. You got to get back, but a Kitsune Rush gets invested here. They're going to push him into spawn. They want to try to make this final fight.
Absolutely. We're gonna see. It looks like side of Agave is gonna back up. They've still got both DPS ultimates and the Primal Rage available to them. Actual has the sound barrier, and Chaco getting close on this ultimate. Oh, what a nice play from Chaco.
Great count. Finds a beautiful shot. Sometimes the counter is simply the player themselves. This Sojourn getting chased down. The overclock is there, trying to use more of that damage. Here's the Deadeye. The bubble's down. Will anybody show themselves? They have to before this point gets capped by the payload. Choco's just trying to play around this bubble, but they keep coming down right in front, so Agave Foxtails are able to buy themselves so much time and get the eliminations to win map 2 and set us at a 1-1 game.
Oh, that was a little bit closer than Agave Foxtails wanted it to be, though. That play from Chaco taking down Suida, it looked like that might have been able to turn the map there for a moment, but Hee Boink having that Primal available, and Poki Minimi just honestly never missing any kunais on that Kiriko results in this map going the way of the Agave Foxtails and tying us up at 1-1. I mean, this is what I was hoping to see tonight, and I'm glad to see it so far.
Definitely a more dominant game. Definitely established themselves as the front runner in that one in comparison to map 1, where it looked very close between the two teams. So Retirement Home certainly still in it. It could go any way on any map. This one is really not ours to call at this point. There's a lot more game to be watched, but Agave Foxtails have set themselves apart for sure in this one. They're countering that Roadhog a lot better now at this point. It's going really well for them.
And I think the map really lent itself to that, so this is where more kind of strategy comes into play here. If you're Retirement Home, you're going to want to try and pick a map that's going to favor that Roadhog and not favor Dive as much.
Yeah, well, that is a 1-1 game that we are looking down right now. So this one is going to continue to stay close. It's what we expected in our top 4, but I mean, this one really might go the distance. At this point, if we see a map 6, I won't be too surprised. So at this point, you're just going to have to stick around and see what happens. We are going to take a short break here, but on the other side of it, we've got our map 3. One of these teams is going to get back in the lead and put themselves on match points. You're going to want to stick around to see what happens next. We will see you on the other side.
water is the softest.
Welcome back in, everybody, to our NA Open mid-season semifinals match between Retirement Home and Agave Foxtails. Before the break, we were sitting at a 1-1 as we head into map 3, and it is going to be Retirement Home's pick for map this time around. Agave Foxtails picking up that game 2 to set this one even on Blizzard World. It was not quite as close as the first match. They definitely set themselves apart, and they're starting to look like they might be on a winning streak. We'll see what happens.
No, absolutely. They looked incredibly strong on Blizzard World. They looked really good on Oasis as well, but it almost feels like they started to figure out a little bit more how to play into that Roadhog comp with Blue Jay at the helm. And, you know, with that being said, Retirement Home does get to pick map type and game mode going into this next point, and they have decided to do Flashpoint and pick New Junk City, which, I mean, again, as long as you're playing a relatively flat map, I do still think the Roadhog is very, very viable. It's just Blizzard World had too much high ground that you had to cover, and it takes Roadhog way too long to do that.
Yeah, there are a lot of other options here as well, other than the Roadhog. A lot of things that really work out here. But before we can talk about what is going to work, we have to talk about what's not going to be available. So we are headed into our bans. Now we can see Ana can no longer be banned out. Already on map 3, that has been double banned. So neither of these teams can select that one anymore. The Sojourn and Wrecking Ball, however, they have been banned and can be chosen again if that's what these opposite teams choose. I just don't think Agave are going to ever be banning out that Sojourn.
No, I mean, I have a hard time believing they would do that as well. But if you're Retirement Home, I could see you banning Amalga. I could even see you banning potentially a Genji or a Reaper. Maybe you ban a Lucio, but I think Lucio benefits you way too much. So I'm gonna, you know, my final vote here is gonna be Malga. Oh, they popped it up before I put the final vote in. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. That was my expectation.
We'll give it to you. Yeah, we'll give it to you. You predicted that one. It is going to be the Malga. So now no more tank bans here either. It is going to be up to Agave to decide between a support and a damage. I think that Malga ban is really good because we were discussing a little bit during the break there behind the scenes, the Roadhog and Malga matchup, and there's a little bit of differentiation between why we believe they're good. Truth is, they have advantages into each other. Malga can heal up off of the Roadhog, but Roadhog can also be one of the only tools that can get Malga in a precarious situation where you can start to melt that health bar quicker than the tiny little ticks that it usually goes down by. For anybody who is a crossover fan with Pokemon, it is like a Generation 4 Blissey slowly going down to a Lucario's close combat. It will just take forever for that health bar to disappear, but it's not going to be Roadhog being banned out. That one will still be around. It's going to be, instead, the Malga going out. So now Agave Foxtails get a ban here, and some of the things that they were struggling with, honestly, it didn't have anything to do with the damage or support on that first map for the most part. So it's not really going to be something that they have to get rid of. You had mentioned that Genji being one that they might go for, but instead it's going to be the Torbjorn targeting something that they had a little bit of difficulty with the first time on Control. So I guess it's the only thing outside of a tank that you actually can't always deal with if you're Agave.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair ban, honestly. I was expecting the Kiriko because Ana's no longer able to be banned. So if you were to theoretically get rid of Kiriko, you can no longer cleanse any antis from either side, quite frankly. And you could get as crazy as just running like double antis if you know that the Roadhog's gonna come out. Like, I don't know. That would be wild to do, but you could just hard counter comp this Roadhog and then just not allow Blue Jay to play the zero. But with the Torb being banned out, like I said, Vanguard has been a problem on that character, so I do like that ban as well.
Yeah, it's a really good start here for these two teams. I think that these are a lot more effective bans than what we saw last time. They're getting more and more targeted and match specific as we see the game go on. So really starting to lock into things that are actually troubling these teams. And making the game change a little bit. This is going to force some discomfort from both sides. Agave are going to have to play something a little bit unexpected now. They might have to go for something like the Junker Queen if they still want to play something in the brawl or rush territory. No substitutions here. Both teams still going to be locked in for the same here. Probably going to run this one with the 5 stacks on both sides. We're almost ready to head into this one. But before we do, what do you think the compositional adjustments are going to be here?
I think that Agave, I get the feeling Retirement Home's just going to keep running that Roadhog. I have no reason to believe they're going to do anything different at this point. So I would expect the Roadhog with the Kiriko Lucio, full send it out there with like a May and a Cass, something to that effect. That's going to be my guess from them. And with Agave, I think you're either between Junker Queen or Orisa. I think those are your 2 main options here as far as the tank line is concerned. And it's really just which one you prefer. If you like playing the Junker Queen, I think that would work just fine into what I think Retirement Home is going to play. But if you want a little bit more survivability and ability to just live through the sheer massive amount of damage that the Roadhog is going to output, then Orisa is probably going to be the flavor you're going to want to go for.
Orisa certainly would make things interesting here. As we head into this one, it does look like already on the side of Retirement Home, got a little bit of a showing of what we're probably going to see. It is that Kiriko and Lucio matched with the Roadhog. We do see the May, and TPs off the bat are not always something that you see here on Flashpoint, where you get that speed boost straight out of the spawn. So this might be an actual Symmetra coming out from Vanguard, but I don't want to speak too soon very well. May just be a teleport. Agave on the other side going to be playing a really big rush comp with the Pharah in the mix, at updated Pharah, and it is going to be Vanguard sticking to this Symmetra.
I mean, Vanguard likes their turret characters. What can I say? You know, get rid of the Torbjorn, we're still going to have the Symmetra available. So, I mean, you know, it makes sense to me at least. And now we're here just kind of poking at each other from range. Retirement Home just doing like this massive... I thought they were doing a rotation, but it does not appear they were.
No, it seems like the only person rotating really is Soita here, getting around. A nice repulsor away to make sure that they're not going to take too much damage there. And a nice teleport there to get the team all the way around the point from the side of Retirement Home. They're playing this one a little bit tricky. It's hard for Agave to keep up, but Actual does end up going down. One of the speediest and trickiest people to find here. And then Vanguard right after. So no more teleport on board. They can start to rush this down, do what this comp is made for. It's quick eliminations. It's not every day you see a composition that can take down a Roadhog that quickly.
Well, I mean, it's just the sheer spam damage. On top of the fact, you have nothing that's really threatening Suida, right? Choco Man can hit these icicles, but it's significantly more difficult to do that than it is to just play like a Cass or a hit scan of some sort. And here comes the rush in now.
Choco Man cutting off that sightline and that entryway on the way into the point. Vanguard does find Grommet quickly as they flip the sides of this point. 50% for Agave Foxtails that they passed now, but they're slowly dropping. Blue Jay does go down. That's a really, really pivotal point in this that could flip it around, and Hee Point finds Vanguard. This one can go back and forth. Actual drops as well. That Kiriko is low. It doesn't really look like there's anyone who can pick up a win on this one, so Retirement Home are going to have to drop back. They can't outdo a Lucio and Junker.
I mean, smart from them to just back off. They should be able to get a touch still. You're close on that Blizzard from Choco Man. You got the Kitsune Rush. That's the big thing, though. Got to get this Blizzard off.
Ooh, it already has that level 2 to be able to have the mobile barrage. So a really quick pickup there from the side of Agave, and Soida finding that early damage really solidified that one for them. Retirement Home really never had a chance.
No, absolutely. And you get the Kitsune Rush out of Retirement Home. That's it. You spend 2 of your own ultimates. And now you're looking at an overclock. You got the Rampage as well as the Orbital Ray if you're the Agave Foxtails. Whereas Retirement Home just has that Blizzard online. They're getting close on the sound barrier in the Rampage, but probably not going to get it in this fight because this should be a quick fight for Agave Foxtails if they engage properly.
Yeah, it looks like Retirement Home's idea here to try and counter the Pharah was to go Genji, a very interesting choice. Now they're being rushed down a bit, and the Genji gets taken down already. A really nice wall there to stop Hee Point from getting too much on some of the team, but Agave Foxtails do still lose members during the fight with the wall cutting them off, so it'll be a quick one from Agave Foxtails. Retirement Home are, they're just not really having the same presence that they did previously on that map 1.
No, they're having some difficulties just not being able to play what they want to play. They're having to play at Agave's tempo now, and that's going to prove difficult for them. This is the fight that you need to win, though, if you're Retirement Home.
Yeah, nice cut off there, and a nice blizzard as well from the Mei. You're going to find a really big target first in Hee Hee Boink, and now going to be difficult for any of these players. Really nice from Miname there to try and save the tank while still staying alive. It was a difficult task, but Blue Jay goes down to 2 really well-placed shots by Gromit. Vanguard's able to find the counter and get that elimination. But is it enough? This still might be a fight. Agave Foxtails don't have the numbers, but they do have this Pharah that goes so unthreatened by so much Retirement Home that they might be able to still move in.
No, absolutely. Soida is just doing so much on this Pharah. They got another barrage online. Retirement Home may not even be ready for it, but you still have to wait it out. And here comes the Rampage out from Blue Jay.
Really surprising Rampage. Miname doing a really good job to beat that as soon as it happens. Make sure nobody goes down to any of that. Not the bleed damage, not the antis. Everybody stays alive, but Vanguard finds Elrin in the back. A player that does not often go down early, and Vanguard drops for it because of how deep that you had to be to actually find that elimination. Choco Man able to stay alive for a little while. Soida now in the air. This is dangerous. There's nothing there to really put a lot of damage on that. Gets the Lucio separated from the team, somehow stays alive for a moment. Choco Man does find the icicle shots to get Soida eliminated. Now it's the tanks dueling each other, and Kitsune put out from Liam. It's not going to get any damage value, but it did slow down Agave's push. The blade here could go really big, although it's not going to be using the Kitsune. It does go onto the Lucio, who doesn't have that beat. Eliminates Miname. One more player remaining. It looks like Retirement Home were able to lock down that point. They finally got their own roll going.
And great fight there from Retirement Home. Great point as a whole. And they still hold on to their Blizzard and their Sound Barrier. Agave coming up on some ultimates here. Soida just not really finding an in with that barrage. And it is a tough ult to get like high value out of, just simply due to the fact that if people are actually looking for you, you only take about 2 shots to take down. And that is what's proving so difficult for Soida right now. But they've got to find a big-time barrage here in this next fight.
Yeah, the barrage for sure, because there is a blizzard here. Whether it's going to be committed in this hallway is questionable, but it is, and it looks like a lot of those players were able to gout. Soida able to find 2, both of the DPS there, and because of the aerial ability, probably going to be able to get out of this one without getting hit too much. Does have the timed health as well that can be put up, but no, actually going to be healed by a teammate, so they're going to commit to this one a little bit on the outside fight. It's taking too long. 2 eliminations do come through for Retirement Home, but they still likely don't have the numbers here. It's the point going the way of Agave, but they've completely rotated to try and get the kills there, and they end up rotating the map, giving it away. A nice Rampage comes through that drops down Gromit. Blue Jay gets a little bit deep, though, takes a lot of damage. The wall's able to cut everything off, and it looks like Retirement Home have been able to solidify a hold here. Agave Foxtails pulling back.
Great flip from the side of Retirement Home, quite honestly. Blue Jay doing a great job with these Rampages. Like, all of them have been massive so far, catching like multiple players off guard. Agave has their 4 ultimates online, everything but their barrage. They just need to make sure to not burn too much trying to recap this point.
Yeah, and a really nice wall on the knife pull there. Gromit here getting countered a little bit in that 1v1, but Soida is finding more than enough to make up for it. I mean, a lot of eliminations to make sure that this one is going one way and one way only, and that's going to be back to Agave Foxtails. They get control of the point in that fight, and it all started with cutting off Blue Jay from the rest of the team because the resources had to get pumped right into him.
No, absolutely great play from Agave Foxtails. They only burned the 2 ultimates in the Rampage and the Overclock. And Soida, once again, has another barrage available to them. They've done such a good job so far of just being really sneaky with that ultimate and just catching players off guard when they're just not quite ready for it. So I would expect them to do something very similar here in this fight.
Choco Man gonna be approaching here off of the Kitsune. It's gonna be countered by an orbital ray there. A beat comes out as well from Actual, so everything from Retirement Home to try to push into this one, and instead they just scatter, so no usage out of the support ults. Vanguard does find a really crucial elimination to make it worth something, but the beat is gonna give a few seconds to Agave Foxtails to try to even this one out. A really nice blizzard on the end of that beat is gonna help them pick up some eliminations. He Boink going down first. And now it's the Blade coming out to get Grommet. A lot of ultimates committed here over a long period of time. The survivability was great because of all the support ults, but eventually it's Retirement Home coming out on top. They likely are going to be able to hold this one if they can find just one more.
They just need that one more kill to really, finalize this point, as you were saying. Blue Jay does have the Rampage online, though, and here it comes.
Ooh, it's really big. Gets a lot of that back line. The beat gets dropped there. Or, sorry, not the beat. It's a shout there. That ends up keeping the team topped off, and a lot of Agave Foxtails go low at the same time. The supports are still alive, but they had so many targets to focus. Blue Jay drops to Elrin, but these supports are not going to be able to hold this on their own. They can try to be annoying. They can use their mobility, and they're staying alive for the moment, but they drop one by one, and as the other players funnel in, they won't be able to hold. So this one will go to Retirement Home, who are 1 point away now from taking this map 3.
I mean, Vanguard doing such a great job on this Genji, just finding and isolating out these targets. I mean, they took down Suida enough times on the Pharah that they have now swapped over to the Genji themselves. They said, all right, we'll just play the Jotes composition, essentially, a slight variation on that support line from the original Jotes comp. But in any case, Retirement Home Actual almost has this sound barrier online, and Grommet for Agave Foxtails has this overclock. That's really all we're looking at here, so it's going to be really on Grommet to get some big value out of this overclock.
Yeah, I mean, both of the all of the supports used their ults in the last fight, so it's amazing that this beat coming out from Actual is already back online. Grommet finding a ton of damage here all the way through that beat and eliminates Actual themselves really early on. Vanguard drops 2, and He Boink is able to stay alive just barely by the skin of their teeth for so long. The Kitsune actually gets committed here, and it might just be worth it because they're finding tons of eliminations, but will it be enough? You have to get rid of the Kiriko, and she's just not going to drop. So Liam and Blue Jay are going to be able to hold out long enough to not only cap, but hold.
Liam was just like Matrix dodging all of those shots just over and over again in the middle of that fight. Like, I swear Grommet was hitting them over and over again, just not managing to get that last little bit of damage in. And now because of that, we're looking at a fairly even ultimate fight coming in here.
Yeah, and it looked like Blue Jay wanted to look for the Rampage there, and here it is. It's going to be thrown out. Gets 3. The Blade comes out as well, but there is a beat to keep a lot of these players topped up. No eliminations found by Vanguard with the beat. As a consequence, though, Liam and Choco end up going down, so Agave, they stay aggressive. They don't let all the threats slow them down. That's the first time we've really seen them try to fight through all those scary ultimates thrown at them, and it ended up very successful for them.
No, absolutely. Having the double support ults while Retirement Home did not just proved to be too much sustain at the end of the day. And Agave still has their Blade online. No support ultimates available for Retirement Home, so Suida could get a big-time Blade here, or Choco Man might just throw Blizzard down and catch somebody super early.
Choco Man's had some good ones and some not as great ones. There is a Genji in the back line now trying to slash the rest of the team. Suida ends up getting taken down, though, so the Blade does not go big. Agave Foxtails are still able to find a lot of eliminations, though. It looks like they're going to get the Sojourn frozen, so Grommet not part of this fight for a moment. Actual ends up going down, though. Agave slowly but surely taking this one out of their hands. And at 90% Retirement Home we're sitting at, they just wanted to finish this one up, but it looks like Agave, they're going to get a late elimination onto this Junker Queen. They were able to keep her alive for so long and get that elimination at 80%. They're probably sending this one to a 0.5.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever seen a Junker Queen get staggered out before, but that is what just happened to Blue Jay, and it was really smart, too, because now you're not going to have at least a full team fight, even if you're going to have touch.
Yeah, I mean, you do force the overclock out of Grommet here, and while all of your players are dropping, at least you got something out of it, because you don't commit any ultimates in that one, so it's not really too big of a way. Did Choco Man throw out the Blizzard? No, it was already used before.
Yes.
No, so everything, yeah, I mean, they pulled out the only ultimate that Agave had.
Yeah, so that is some definite good value, and now we've wrapped around to the point where both supports for for both teams are basically pretty even on ult charge. So we're probably going to have double support ults drop from both sides. And both Junker Queens are pretty close to their rampages as well. So we're probably going to see those ults come out somewhere in this fight too.
Yeah, not surprised to see how close this one has been so far. It's going to be a little bit of slow play from both of these teams. They're playing a rush comp, but they're playing it a little bit slower now, showing some respect to each other. Some support ults coming out already, one from each side. A Kitsune from the side of Retirement Home to keep up the aggression, and the beat from Agave to try and survive. It's Agave that finds 2 eliminations first. Blue Jay goes down as well, so it looks like that beat is going to be the better of the 2 ultimates coming out of that one. Choco Man eventually drops as well. Agave on this final point, going to have first possession.
And I mean, first possession, very, very important here. The big thing, too, to note for at least this next fight, if you're Retirement Home, like you mentioned before, Pokemini used the sound barrier. So now you've got the Rampage into a team that does not have a sound barrier in Agave. So that's going to be your big-time advantage here, especially because Liam has the ability to cleanse the Rampage if you need one.
Yeah, and that gets pooped out a little bit, so Blue Jay doesn't get all the targets that they want. They get antied themselves by a Rampage in return. Doesn't get much value either, and it's just a 1-for-1 trade. The DPS trying to do a lot of damage here in this fight. The Blade coming out from Soida, trying to get the Junker Queen targeting down the tank. It does work. Now the Maze is going to have the Ice Block to stay away from it. It's going to be Choco Man with the Ice Block, somehow finding an elimination there, using that perk on Soida to find that elimination. Was it enough, though? Can Choco Man with the Lucio here stay alive? Elrin holding this one to get some really good percentage. Actually finds the elimination onto Actual and holds the point.
And there you go. I think that might be map. Maybe somebody can get a touch here for Retirement Home, but it's going to be close.
You don't have your speed boosts now online. They get the boop to be able to push the Retirement Home off the point. They're not able to get a touch, and Agave Foxtail take the map 3. They're putting themselves on match point here.
And I mean, quite honestly, just dominant performance, at least on point number 5 in particular. So many great plays coming out, and I got to shout out Liam in particular. At that particular moment, this was crazy, the amount of stuff that they managed to survive. But even with all those great plays coming out from Retirement Home, they were not able to take the map. Agave seems to be just a little bit more comfortable on this composition as a whole, knows when and how to ult just a little bit better.
Yeah, fighting their way through the support ults was a really big deal. It did seem like Retirement Home, when those support ultimates came online, it was almost time to throw away the fight. It was okay, thumbs up. We got the support ults out of the way. Now we go into the next fight. Whereas Agave, oftentimes they would say, all right, well, now it's 50-50. We might be able to fight through these because we saved our own support ults for this one. They're going to go ahead and try to fight through it, and we saw it be successful for them several times, which gave them that little bit of an advantage. It's not like it was a 3-0, but they did end up coming out with the win.
Yeah, no, it was so close, and then Elrin just managing to stay alive right there at the end and getting, like, what was it, like 2 or 3 kills in that fight on the Juno. That is just some absurdly good aim and just what you would expect out of a support player at this tier.
Yeah. Could be only one more map remaining. Agave certainly want it to be. They want to try to shut this one down in the very next one because the winner of this match goes to NA Open Grand Finals here in our mid-season tournament. Really big deal. You really want to win this tournament, and Grand Finals is the match that you'll be winning in. So you got to be there if you want to take the win, if you want those extra points, if you want to head toward the end of this season with a high placement for postseason. This is where it all begins. You have to beat. This is probably one of the teams that you're going to have to end up going against in that Grand Finals later in the season anyway. These top 4 teams are fighting it out. We're going to see a combination of these 4 teams with maybe another contender or possibly 2, but at least half of the teams in top 4 right now are going to be seen again later in that season, you got to think. So this is a good preview as to what we're going to see in the future. This is how you start preparing for those matches. And whoever comes out of this one on top, they get the confidence. They learn a lot more about the other team. They have the reads on them. You'd be going into later into the season feeling like you really are the top dog.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a major confidence booster for whichever of these 2 teams manages to get out of this. Just because, again, either one of these 2 teams so far has looked like the better team. There's just been moments here or there where one team or the other has taken advantage of one thing. And I'm not surprised at all with the pick that I'm seeing come through for the map for Retirement Home, and it's gonna be Coliseo. Again, this makes perfect sense to me. They like playing the in-close, tight-knit brawl-type compositions or Roadhog, one of those two things. And so this is going to be the best remaining map for that type of composition. So this makes perfect sense why you would do this.
It does make me curious as well. Is it time for the Wrecking Ball? It was banned out for a reason before. Is it about time that we see that Wrecking Ball? I'm very curious to see if that's what we're going to get. But Retirement Home going to get the first ban here as well after choosing Coliseo Push as their map. So what should we expect them to be trying to ban out now?
I would almost think that we're going to see potentially so Malga can't be banned anymore. Oh, what was really giving them some issues? You could ban out the Farah, but it seemed like they kind of figured out how to play into the Farah later on that map. But maybe you just get rid of it immediately so you just don't even have to think about it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Farah, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a support ban like a Kiriko.
Yeah, getting rid of that Kiriko is definitely an option because it does seem like the stylistic difference here is the Kiriko versus the Juno. Instead, no, you do have a good read on it. It is going to be the Farah getting banned out, another DPS ban coming out. Usually it's the tanks and the supports that take the brunt of all the bans, but it's been really DPS focused in this game. So Farah gets banned out first. Now the answer is going to be from the side of Agave Foxtails, whether it's going to be between support or tank. They could try to ban out that Juno. We talked about focusing down that support line. The Juno is certainly the big difference, something that Agave aren't relying on, that it looks like Retirement Home are a little bit, relying more on the Juno to play with the Lucio. They might not be as prepared to play that Kiriko Lucio really fast style. Maybe they want to ban that out, or of course, on the tank side of things, there are still a lot of options for them.
I mean, I really think the Kiriko is probably the major pick here. It seems like the easy choice. Just because if you want to play that Junker Queen again, like we saw on the last map, you'd be basically wholly dependent on sound barriers or some other ultimate coming in to just kind of help sustain the team. It's mostly just sound barrier, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah. You'd be wholly dependent on sound barrier, stopping rampages from just running the lobby. But no, the Roadhog ban actually does come out from Agave. Okay, I didn't think they were going to do it because it seemed like they had gotten used to dealing with the Roadhog. But, again, this makes sense. You see Retirement Home really favors this Roadhog, so just get rid of the thing that they want to play.
Yeah, let's just hope that is what they wanted to play here, because Coliseo has had a Wrecking Ball style as of late that has appeared and started to become a little bit popular in certain regions. So hopefully for Agave Foxtails, that Roadhog was more of the idea. They wanted to play those straightaway lanes rather than playing the side angles. But only one way to find out. It'll be once we get into this game. For the moment, though, analyzing these bans, I think that the Farah on Coliseo in particular, I would understand why late in the game like this, you want to eventually ban out that Farah as it's going to be a big threat. But I don't know if Coliseo is the map where you really have to do that, especially when you're playing that midsection of the map. There's a lot of ways to play around the Farah without having to actually ban her out.
I think it's probably just it might just be a headache thing. Like, we're tired of having to look up at this character so far and just deal with this spam damage. So let's just get it back to the normal where we're just kind of looking in front of us and to the side, not really all over the airspace. And let's just get back to basics, try and get this more like Oasis where we didn't have to deal with the Farah at all, and just try and dominate like we did previously.
Very, very likely. Well, we do have our lineup set. It is going to be the same 5, of course, for both sides. Hee Hee Bonk, Blue Jay on the tank. Choco Man has been having a little bit of a passive game, truthfully. Not as standout as some of the other DPS have been so far, but solid nonetheless. A little bit of pickup clearly needed because they do need a boost of some sort. Retirement home right now. They need a pick-me-up of anything, and it's going to be one of these DPS players going big at some point, or a very interesting pick from Blue Jay here to shake up the way that the game is played. They have to change something about the style because Agave Foxtails are onto them. They're starting to take these games with not a perfect lead, not a complete sweep, but a decent lead in the 2 maps they've taken so far.
No, they absolutely have, and I think the main thing you can do to really change it up if you're Retirement home is kind of just play with a little bit faster tempo. I think that's what you're going to have to do if you're gonna try and play like the Junker Queen in particular. Nope, looks like the Wrecking Ball may be coming out from Blue Jay, the comp that you were talking about and we're so excited about.
Yeah, I hope change of style here. Very interesting to combo it with the Torbjorn and the Mei. It is kind of a clash of styles here. It makes sense. Oh, never mind. This is much more what I expected. This is huge amounts of poke all the way through. This is an extremely pokey composition that they're going to be playing in. Agave rolling out on the double sniper, you know, the double long range, at least double hit scan here with the Zarya. And then the Kiriko Juno opting for no Lucio at this point. So now that Retirement home are getting the read on this one, they're going to check everything out. That Zarya is asleep for just a moment. They're going to make sure that bubble doesn't get charged too high. The Widowmaker takes a spear to the chest, but does stay alive for the moment. Vanguard now going to move in just a little bit, but gets countered by that Repulsor. So really slow game coming out here, which is kind of what Retirement home want to see. They want to play this as slow as possible. They want to play it really pokey, but Agave have a lot of long-range heroes that can take advantage of this as well. So this one is just going to be really slow-paced. I don't think we're going to see a map finish in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth. The Zarya has to be a huge game changer here because once that charge is high, they can start to push in deep. Grommet does find an elimination from far that takes out the Torbjorn, opens up a lot of angles to start playing from. The poke and the spam become a lot less. Blue Jay does find a tank counterpart elimination, but eventually it looks like he's going to be taken down themselves. So it looks like Agave have won that long-range battle with their snipers in hand.
They do eventually take that fight outright. Grommet in particular just absolutely dominant on the Sojourn so far. Liam already built up to this nano boost, so that could be useful coming into this next fight. But again, I think the Orisa is just going to struggle to find a target because, you know, there's nobody really for Blue Jay to run at. Grommet and Suida are going to be... all these characters except for Zarya are going to be so far removed from the point. It's going to be difficult to find somebody to run on.
Yeah, that Zarya was on the high ground for a moment. He Boink had a good position that got dropped down from. So 43 meters is where it gets stopped for the moment, but the Kitsune Rush is already ready from Pokeminame, and they have plenty more on board as well. The Nano gets thrown out here just in time for Liam to go down. Blue Jay's going to stay alive longer, and a little bit of a pause there. Just ends up going down. It gives up the fight a little bit, but either way, Choco Man going to get back to the high ground. Agave are going to take a little bit more control, and they still have conserved a lot of ults here. Retirement home are coming up on some too.
No, they absolutely have some things available to them. Choco Man going to have to be big time with this Blizzard. That's the real, key ultimate you have here if you're Retirement home.
Graviton gets thrown out. Torbjorn ulting right into it. The Molten Core to keep them away. A really nice way to counter that, but Soida does find a shot on the Choco from afar. This is something you don't often see in the modern compositions, is having to worry about that off-angle sniper in position to take heads, and Soida on the Widowmaker finds that elimination. They say, you take my far, I'm going hit scan.
I mean, that's the kill, quite honestly. That is the elimination. Choco Man has the only ultimate that's going to be able to wipe your team in any sort of way. And nice peel for the side of Agave Foxtails to save their Sojourn there.
Yeah, making sure that their DPS line stays healthy. It was a really nice bubble and full team commit to make sure that they live. Now, the team about to push past 100 meters. I had said that this one doesn't look like it's going to be finished, but now looking at the side of Agave, it's understandable how they could push this one as long as they play that range. Choco does find Gromit early, almost gets a little bit too aggressive, has to ice block there for a moment. The Wrecking Ball trying to be disruptive, but taking so much damage so fast. Finds Pokeminame. And he bonked. Boink does go down as well. So it looks like Retirement Home are going to get their first solid moment to turn this one around.
And this is a fight you definitely need to steamroll this next fight into a win as well. Choco still has this Blizzard online, had it for quite a while now. This is probably the moment that it needs to come out, I would think. But we will have to see if they can catch somebody. There's so much mobility on the side of Agave Foxtails.
And this Wrecking Ball does look like it's going to be chasing down the Widowmaker quite a lot this game, so they're conserving a lot of resources. Cuts off those angles with the mines, though, and while the Blizzard is running, actually boops the Zarya in, who luckily had the bubble to stay alive. Going to be building up that charge, but Liam finds that final shot there. Soida trying to keep it going by finding long-range shots, but gets targeted by the Wrecking Ball again and taken down. Now Actual helping to clean it up. Agave Foxtails loses the second fight in a row, and distance will be made here by Retirement Home.
Yeah, we're going to see a little bit of cart push come in from Retirement Home. No ultimates available, though. You burnt 4 ultimates in that fight. And now Agave Foxtails, they've got their grab, and they've got that orbital ray online. And, I mean, it's still going to be tough to catch more than like 1, maybe 2 characters with if you're Hee Boink. But who do they catch? They get the Wrecking Ball of Blue Jay with that grab.
Yeah, catching the Wrecking Ball is really good. That's one of the most annoying things they've got to deal with so far. Neither of these teams have been having a look in the air, but that Wrecking Ball is really keeping them pestered. Now, with 100 charge, this Zarya is so deadly. Cutting off the angle here is Vanguard, making sure that the team can retreat. That Satellite Vector getting committed, and they have to slow down. They can't push in with it. Now the Wrecking Ball is back, and immediately the side of Retirement Home engage on it. So they continue to push, finding 2 really quick eliminations that forces back the rest of Agave.
Great push there from Retirement Home, just pulling back just long enough for the orbital ray to not really have that high value we were thinking it might have there. No ultimates really to speak of either, so this is probably going to be a relatively dry fight for both sides.
It's really close on the side of Agave, losing both of their DPS there, but instead it'll be their tank going down first. Liam is found. The DPS are fighting this backline instead. So far, it is working out for them fairly well. That's to try to find this May, who hasn't taken a lot of damage. Gromit's going to commit the overclock, not thinking that it's such a clean fight, and that might have been a wise decision because Soida has gone down. Just stand in place, knows that this Wrecking Ball isn't too much of a threat. Eventually, they'll find the elimination, and Elrin cleans that one up. So Agave, they slow it down for now. The checkpoint was reached by the side of Retirement Home, and they got a little more.
And it is very important that Retirement Home did get that checkpoint, because, you know, now you won't have to wait for that butt scratch again the next time you come through. Very important. You got Sound Barrier online, and here comes the Deadeye already from Suida, and the Speed Ring. I love that.
Yeah, that one's gonna get... Oh! That almost looked like an execution. There's gonna be a Blizzard coming out that everybody's gonna get booped out of the way of. The Kitsune Rush kind of mitigated here. They'll only be able to use the latter half of it, but shots from afar. Choco Man trying to out-snipe some of these snipers and get the damage from a distance. They're pushing these players back into a corner. Kiriko didn't have to teleport for a moment. Another Satellite Vector going to be coming out, and it's countered immediately by the Beat, who doesn't quite get everybody, but it does get a little bit of Blue Jay. Actual ends up going down this time while the Beat is still active, so despite committing, Retirement Home are not going to win out that fight. Agave are going to continue to push, but that bot was stalled for a really long time. The idea behind using the Deadeye was to get the bot out of the middle of the map, and they didn't during the fight.
No, still pretty high value. You're going to get forward here. You're most likely going to get to 100 meters. Pokeminami does get traded out, which is not what you like to see. You would not like to have your Kiriko available here.
Yeah, it does have the TP, but the fight got kicked off a little bit too quickly to think that one's going to come back. Actual does get eliminated, so a little bit of support line trade there. The Wrecking Ball extremely low. Going to stay in the fight. Might get taken down, but that was actually the team Ana there for the side of Retirement Home staying in that one. It looked for a moment in the positioning like it was Agave's Ana, but they don't have one. It's Liam there, now using the Nano, double Nano boosted. BJ and Liam both going to be putting out a ton of damage on the Hee Boink. and make sure that that one gets cleaned up. So they win that one off of some, honestly, some really good usage of the perk upgrades that they've got now.
No, absolutely. The ante comes out onto Grommet. Great plays there from Retirement Home once again. Blue Jay probably just needs to run away here.
Yeah, gonna have to get out of here. It's another Deadeye being used by the Cassidy, but gets booped in to the mines and will get taken down. Now Elrin gets taken down late, so distance that honestly should have taken 2 entire team fights for Retirement Home to gain has only taken them 1. Now a really nice repulsor stick there on the Choco Man does make sure that that player will get eliminated. Hee Bonk will be back in the fight fairly quickly, so they're just trying to get as much distance as they can right now, Retirement Home. They're very likely not going to get the lead, although they're trying to get it here by finding that elimination on the Grommet. Once again, these trades are not going to go in their advantage because of the distance that Agave have to go. It's not very far for them to return. They're going to find the tank here, and with 10 meters difference and only 30 seconds remaining, Agave are still in the lead.
No, absolutely. Great ult usage there from the side of Agave. And now, I mean, look at all these ultimates online for Agave Foxtails. This is absurd. In 10 meters of difference, this is last fight. Well, if Retirement Home wins, we'll have another fight. But this could potentially be last fight for Agave Foxtails if they manage to get this team wipe in this fight. Choco Man Blizzard probably needs to be big time here for Retirement Home if they want to win this fight.
Blue Jay is fully committed to this Sojourn and is taking a really long time to get rid of him. The supports are there to keep that one up. So now the rest of Retirement Home, they don't have a defensive front line to work with. Soida does get capitalized on, though. The DPS are putting in a lot of work to get that target very low. Choco Man, a nice block off on the Sojourn there, who finds a really nice rail shot for that elimination. They don't have to hold the objective anymore. The Kitsune comes out. They're trying to keep the healing going, but they're having a difficult time because the fight is so split up. So Poki Miname having to look every which way while Retirement Home find these eliminations onto their teammates. There's no TP out. You have to try to touch the bot, stall it out a little bit while you get eliminated. Doesn't find an elimination here, but there's going to be one more chance for both of these teams.
And here we go. This is going to be the last fight of the map because if Retirement Home wins, they're definitely going to get those 10 plus more meters. Agave Foxtails, they've got the grab. They've got the orbital ray as well. Blue Jay probably needs to engage early with this minefield to just try and gain their team a little bit of space.
And a bad swing there is going to mean the engagement's not good, so you have to mine right on the objective. It's a trade early on, but the satellite vector is going to keep a lot of these players alive. Agave with their tank in the front line, able to find a lot of eliminations. That Zarya gets really high charge during that fight, especially being able to stand on the lava mat like that. It's a slow survivability here, a crazy spin from Blue Jay, but it is not enough to stay alive. And in yet another close map, Agave are going to take a third and set themselves a win to send themselves to grand finals of this NA Open tier.
Oh, and I mean, it was a close game for Retirement Home. They just couldn't win that one more fight that they needed on both New Junk City and again on here on Colosseo. They were so close, but just not quite enough. And this is going to be a great series to look over for Retirement Home just to see what they maybe could have done differently.
It's going to be a great series for the entirety of the NA Open tier to look at, truthfully. This is going to be one to watch because these are two really important teams to beat now. And they've showed a lot of each other's weaknesses and strengths at this point. They had to pull out a lot of the stops to make this one work. That game one feels like a lifetime ago, truthfully. Because Blizzard World may be feeling a little bit more recent. But there were some huge plays here from Agave that showed the life that they had put back into themselves. They had a solid map one, but it did feel like they were shaking off the rust a little bit. Map 2 was probably their most solid, and then they were able to carry that into momentum where even though on the other maps it was starting to look really close, not quite as decisive as Blizzard World, they were still always in the lead in one way or another, either controlling the ultimate economy or just playing this mirror style of the Junker Queen a little bit more confidently and a little bit more quickly that got them the win. There was always something that they had a head up in, even if it wasn't by a ton.
And yeah, again, even on this map, playing just the vastly different styles between the two teams, they managed to get that super early lead and just kind of held it for the rest of the series. They really figured out what to do with Blue Jay's Wrecking Ball. And I mean, Suida just coming out on that cast. the double hit scan, getting the kills on the Widowmaker as well. Just completely different from what they'd done the rest of the game, playing mostly Genji and Pharah. So just showing that real versatility from the DPS line.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're going by, you know, calling that checkpoint on push a tick there, 0-1 doesn't really explain how that push game went. Nothing here was one-sided. Not a single one of these maps just went the way of one team and one team only. There was really no domination at all. There were times where Agave definitely looked like they were in the driver's seat, but they never had Retirement Home shut down. So a very close series, two really tough teams, and now whoever wins the other side semifinals is definitely going to have their eye on this, because they're going to have a tough team to go up against here.
No, absolutely. Either of the two teams on the other side, you probably are going to want to go back and watch this match just to see, like, Agave Foxtails played so many different compositions here and was incredibly good at all of them, quite frankly. And that's something you would expect to see from a team that could potentially be the top team in this NA Opens here.
Yeah, fantastic showing there. Really surprised that we got that double Ana ban so early on, but you had said it, just lately been one of the best perk receivers, honestly. It just changes the way that you're able to play that hero. It makes them a lot more reliable. And Ana was already fantastic. I mean, has been for a very long time. Maybe he wasn't quite meta right now for everything that you could play, but Ana's always been fantastic in general. And because of Mauga, even though Ana's kit wasn't the best for everything, because of Mauga's popularity, that anti-nade was one of the most reliable pieces of utility in the whole game. So it's really cool to see how everything is shaping up. Even now, as the meta changes around, it feels like nothing has been locked in as the one and only thing that you can play. It's fun to see this much versatility in Overwatch, and I'm really glad that that's what we have right now. So for this game, that is all that we have for the moment, but we do have an interview from the side of Agave Foxtails coming up after a very quick break. Not going to be a long one, so if you just stick with us for just a moment, we will have an interview for you on the other side of this one. Stick around. Welcome back in, everybody, from the break. I told you it was going to be a short one. Now, we do have an interview here with Gromit from the side of Agave Foxtails. Congratulations, first of all, Gromit, on your win in this match. I know it was a tough one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, you guys did have a really tough team that you had to go up against today, but this top 4 is pretty stacked in general. You have a lot of tough teams that you have to play, but focusing on this one for now, you guys did have to play a couple of different styles and compositions. You were forced onto a couple things by the bans, and I'm curious how that affected you guys in this one, and if you had to play everything that you planned for on certain maps, or if there were any big adjustments that you had to make.
So we played Retirement home in the first week of CGL, and we actually played the Hog Torb, but we played it with Hog Torb, I believe, Tracer with the same backline. So I think they might have copied that from us and made their own like adjustments. So we weren't really ready to go up against a comp that we were, I guess, adept with playing. So because we know how to play the comp, we know what is strong against it, so we just decided to pull that out.
Well, all right. And I guess to start with, just on the ban side of things, I'm just curious, what is prompting the Ana bans to come out so early in this particular match as well? Because I would think that you would want to play the Ana into the Roadhog, just, you know, like, to me that's just like you would want to ante the Roadhog. So is there any particular reason that you all were banning the Ana as well? Was it just not expecting the Hog, or what was up?
We haven't scrimmed Ilios in a very long time, just because it's not in the Face It map pool. So we just prefer running a 5-man, so Kiri, Lucio, Monkey, with like Soj Genji or Tracer Genji. So we just prefer not to have to play against an Ana or have to play Ana.
All right. And I guess between the other two teams on the other side of the bracket, is there either one of the two teams that you would be more excited, more anticipating to play for the mid-season grand finals, or do you not have a preference at all?
I don't really have a preference, but Amplify would be more fun to play against because one of those players used to be part of the Agave organization. Winter used to be part of the Agave organization, so it would be fun to go up against them.
All right, well, here's to hoping for you guys, and hopefully everything goes well for you in the rest of the season. Of course, this is only the mid-season, so you guys do have grand finals coming up next. We definitely wish you luck, and can't wait to see what more you guys have. We'll definitely be following you through that game. So fingers crossed for a great game in that final matchup, and we wish you guys luck for the rest of the season. Is there anybody else that you want to shout out? Anything that you want to say before you head out here?
Nope, that's about it. Thank you for the interview.
Of course. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. That's all we've got here tonight. We do still have one other game up tonight, and that is the Lunar Eclipse and Solar Eclipse game in the Diamond NA tier. So definitely going to want to catch that one. That one should already be going. I imagine that one is live on CGL2 right now. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, that is definitely going to be a banger matchup. It is 1-0 right now in favor of Solar Eclipse. You're going to want to get in there. This one is definitely heating up. I could feel it from all the way over here. So head on over there. If you are still here listening to us, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was a great time. Really cool to follow these two teams. We'll be heading into the grand finals of the NA Open tier now. That is a very, very big deal here in the mid-season tournament. Excited to see what that holds. But thank you, Shadowfang, for joining me here today. My name is Speedy. We've had Hippie on production. Thank you all for joining us at home, and we will see you again next time.
Yep. Memories. Memories.